bmtisd.com. I'm Beaumont Independent School District's Special Communications Specialist, Ron Reynolds, and joining us is our newly elected Board President, Gwen Ambres. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, giving me this opportunity.
Well, first, tell us a little bit about you. I know you and I, we have two things in common. You love to travel, and
Yes.
You also love tennis. But tell us about your professional background and your involvement in the community.
Okay, well, I'm born and raised here in Beaumont. Went to BISD public schools here, graduated from Hebert High School, in fact. My degree is from Lamar University, Bachelor of Science degree in Medical Technology, and I worked in that field for about 3 years. I left that field and took a job with, at that time, Mobil Oil, kind of on the very bottom rung of the ladder. I had a broom in my hand and a shovel in my hand, and kind of worked my way up to mid-management at now ExxonMobil.
Okay.
You know, and I was talking the other day that I think my training at ExxonMobil was actually good preparation for what it is I'm embarking on now, being president of the school board. You know, I retired in 2008 from ExxonMobil and started to do some of the things that I had always wanted to do, but was restricted because of my work schedule. But I'm involved in ASA softball. I am an umpire, president of the Umpires Association. And I just love, you know, the little girls' fast pitch softball. So, you know, and especially what we call our Pixie League, where they're 6 and under. And I mean, they are just, you know, they're out there trying to do their best. And it's just a wonderful thing to see. And I also do a lot of volunteer work at Henry's Place, which is a homeless shelter here in Beaumont under the umbrella of Some Other Place. Lots of time spent there, and very concerned about the homeless culture in our city. You know, people tend to think that it's, you know, it's just a blanket, they don't want to work, you know, or they're trying to, you know, just get something for nothing. When more times than not, it's not about that. It's a case where someone is, some of the people are sick, can't afford their medications. Some of them have some mental aspects that, you know, that keep them in that situation. And I think the goal, one of the goals of Some Other Place, and certainly our goal at Henry's Place, is to try to marry that with the authorities who take care of mental health.
I see.
And those agencies that can help people get the medication they need and help people get off the streets. So I'm very involved in that. I'm an avid tennis player, as you said, and I'm in several leagues here in Beaumont. There's a very, very strong tennis community here in Beaumont. A lot of people don't realize that.
That's right. And you being one of our newest members on the board, a lot of people may not have known your involvement in the community, so thank you for sharing that with us so people can, you know, get a chance to know who you are more personally.
Right.
Let's start with your goals for BISD and the students.
Okay, well, you know, I have several. And, you know, in talking with Dr. Shagwal, you know, I said, you know, I'm very impatient. And I tend to sometimes just want to get it all done today. And I got to make myself realize that, you know, you can't build Rome in a day. But obviously, my most pressing goal and the thing that I would really like to tackle is this perception of the widespread divide between the school board and the community. You know, I want to build that bridge. I want to lessen that gap, as you say, and I do believe that one of the main things in doing that is communication. So one of my goals is to find ways to engage the community in the work that the board does. You know, we can come up with ideas, but then I want to go to the community and say, give me your input. What plan would you like to see? Help us figure this out. How do we make it work? And through surveys, through talking with the community, through public forums, you know, we need to hear more from the community. The community needs to interact more with the board. And through communication, I think, that is the key. That's the key to bridging any gap. If you're not talking, no one knows anyone. No one knows what you're really thinking, what you really meant. You know, so then the gap starts to widen. Yeah. And I want to close that. I think it's absolutely necessary if our board is going to progress to that ultimate goal of educating our children. Mm-hmm. It's going to take the community as well as the board and the media. You know, so I welcome being able to speak with the media, get the message out. And the other day I spoke with Mr. Dan Wallach from the Beaumont Enterprise, and he asked me, he says, man, where do you begin? And I said, I begin by believing that it can happen. And I said, and here's my challenge to you. We need you guys, we need the media to believe it too, okay? So don't always take the negative, you know, take the positive and say, and give us a chance, give us a chance to bridge the gap. And don't be a deterrent to that, you know. Help us and boost us up.
Yeah, and it's nice to have this forum as a opportunity to get your message across.
Absolutely.
As well. Absolutely. Certainly, you know, people rely on the local media, and it is a source, and in some cases, a reliable sources. But again, here we can be a little bit more thorough, and we don't have to worry about the 2-minute restriction for a report.
Absolutely.
You know, next month, there are going to be new procedures or policies in how the board function. And that is on our website. You can go to bmtisd.com and you can read in detail.
Sure.
But I want you to address why these changes are taking place.
Okay, so the perception, I think, of the community, maybe fueled by the media, you know, was that the board was trying to somehow restrict input from the community. And as I just said, you know, I want to broaden the community's input to the board. The reason these policies and procedures were put in place is because my background is such that I am procedure driven. I don't think that you can embark on any kind of project, any kind of idea, if you don't have procedures in place to make that happen. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a guideline on how to operate. Our board did not have that. We have been undergoing for the past year, undergoing CRSS training, reform governance training. And one thing that we found that was totally necessary is that we formulate board operating procedures. And that we look at our policies, and especially our policies as with regard to board meetings, and make sure that we are having the most effective board meeting that we can have. We found out that that may not have been necessarily true. We found out that maybe we were spending too much time in our meeting on things that really should not have been taking up that much time. That's the reason the public comment was shortened. You know, it's 2.5 minutes. I think that a clear message can be communicated in 2.5 minutes. It was not to restrict anybody, but the public comment should not consume the entire meeting. We are there to conduct the business of the board, and hopefully this business of the board points to student achievement. We need to celebrate our students, we need to celebrate our teachers, and we need to conduct business. And that should be the main focus of the board meeting. We found out that that was not necessarily so. The community has many different outlets to communicate with the board and with the administration. Email, the requests for information to trustees, phone calls. We are accessible to everyone, not just the public comment. But the board meeting has got to focus on business that will drive student achievement. And that is the reason why these policies and the board operating procedures were put in place, to make sure that our meeting is efficient so that we accomplish what it is we need to accomplish.
Okay, and a quick question about the election.
Sure.
I know a lot of people have questions, so people have asked me. Is there anything that you want to say to the community about the pending trustee election?
Well, the update that we have is that the court needs to schedule an election date. That's litigation. The lawyers will take care of that. We have been ordered by the Circuit Court of Appeals to implement 5-2. No matter what board members' personal feelings may be toward that, it is the law. And as a board, we intend to follow the law. But right now, it's in the courts, and I think that the most prudent way for the board to proceed is to leave the litigation to those who litigate, okay? Our lane, the board's lane, is the business of the board and student achievement, and that's where we need to focus.
All right. Well, let me be the first to say, Madam President, and it is appropriate to
yes,
address you as Madam President.
Yes,
I looked it up as part of Robert's rules. So thank you for joining us. Is there anything else that you would like to say?
One thing I would like to say is that my commitment, a new president coming in, my commitment to the community is that I am here to listen. I want your input. I want us to proceed, the community and the board, I want us to proceed along the same path together, because the education of our children is not left to one aspect of the city. It takes everyone, and a divided city, we can't progress, we can't dream, we can't believe, we can't help our children to progress and believe and dream unless they are hearing it from everyone as a whole. So my commitment is to try to facilitate the bridging of the gap between the board and the community. And I don't think it's as wide as people think, and I truly do believe that we can make it happen. What we need to do is focus on the things that we do agree on and build from there, and make sure that what it is that we agree on always points back to student achievement.
Well said. BISD's Board President, Gwen Ambres, thank you for watching. I'm Ron Reynolds, BISD's Communication Specialist.